by investing in the inventory, knowing what wines to bring in, by being very patient. You know, it's not very common for a 24-year-old who just took his family business from $3 to $15 million in sales to pay himself $27,000 a year. You know, and I did that because I wanted to spend every dollar on those full-page ads in the New York Times and on hiring more wine staff and building the infrastructure. And patience is going to be the theme of today's talk, because as I get into what I think about social media and all that, it rings very, very true. So that's what I did, and I spent $4 million in that 8-year period in traditional advertising. So I spent $4 million on full-page ads in the New York Times, in the Wall Street Journal, in the Wine Spectator, radio, direct mail, billboards, all that crap. All that stuff that we all have done, because that's how you tell a story. And why I'm here today in front of you, and why my book is now on the New York Times and Wall Street Journal's best-selling list, is what I did when I turned 30 is what gets interesting. So I turned 30 on November 14, 2005, and I was driving from my Manhattan apartment to New Jersey to the wine library, and I freaked out completely. I just, for the first time in my life, wasn't 100% happy. You know, and just, you know, right there on the highway, on the Jersey Turnpike, that armpit smell thing, you know, I said, holy crap, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I won't be able to buy the New York Jets. And since that's what I want to do, I kind of got freaked out about that. And so you may know that wine shipping laws kind of suck, especially if you're from Mass. Can't ship there, can't ship to a lot of states. And so there's a lot of crappy laws when it comes to wine still for prohibition. And so that's what was really holding me back. And that's what really scared me. That's what didn't allow me to become an Amazon or a Zappos, because I couldn't go into grow fast enough because there was markets I couldn't attack. And so what ended up happening was, on my 30th birthday, I basically decided I was going to build my personal brand. And how I was going to do that was this. I noticed that in 2002, the web was changing. It was becoming a little bit more about blogging and things of that nature. And I had to kind of let that go, because I'm not a great writer, which is ironic that I signed a 10-book deal with HarperCollins. But, you know, I'm not a great writer, and I knew that wasn't going to be the best platform for me to win. And so I had to wait for video. And when early 04 came around, and I started noticing that YouTube was out there, I was like, this is an interesting platform. But nobody was really talking about YouTube in mainstream America. And so it wasn't until late 05 when the Lazy Sunday SNL clip hit YouTube and went really viral that regular people, not just the computer nerds, were talking about YouTube. And that's when I really kind of decided to strike. And so in February of 2006, I launched a product called WineLibraryTV.com. And what that product is this. I sent out a stock boy to Best Buy to buy a $300 camera, and I sit in my desk in New Jersey with 3 bottles of wine, sit down and drink them for 25 minutes, and somehow 100,000 people a day watch it. But not at first. And so, you know, what I did was I pumped out content. 30 minutes a day about the thing I know. See, what I know is in a day and age where content is harder to monetize than ever, hence Gourmet Magazine going out of business, hence all these newspapers are in trouble. Content, you can't monetize for the same price you used to, because it's simple business. Economics, supply and demand, my friends. There used to be 3 or 4 TV channels that covered the subject matter, 5 or 6 magazines, a couple newspaper articles, and that was your game. Supply and demand. Enough demand against that limited supply, you could charge for those eyeballs. You could get those eyeballs. Now, any subject you care about, one little Google search, and you can have millions of results of content around that product. That's why this is happening. However, I also know that no matter what you're doing for a living in the crowd right now, insurance, DJing, you know, selling cars, whatever you're doing, content is your cost of entry. Content's value as it is absolutely at an all-time high. It is the cost of entry to get people. And so Wine Library TV was to build community and eyeballs for me as a personal brand. Not to necessarily sell more wine, but to create opportunity. And so that's what I did. And I did it every day. And for 96 months that I ran Wine Library every day, from 98 to 2006, it was 96 months. wine library grew 20% against the year prior's month. Every month, 96 months in a row. That's how you grow that fast. The first month that I ran Wine Library TV in March of 2006, we were flat. And we would have months that we'd be down. Because I went from spending all my time selling wine and building that brand to now building Wine Library TV. See, when everyone was trying to figure out why my show did so well, they were asking ridiculous questions like, what camera do I use? Or what mic? Or the lighting? All this dumb stuff. What they didn't recognize was, it wasn't the 30 minutes of content that I put out. It was the 15 hours a day behind the scenes, going to wine forums and wine blogs and all those things that led to me building an audience. We are entering a very intriguing time where we are completely disrespecting culture trends. This is a great crowd for this. Please don't bullcrap me and don't get lazy and don't half raise your hand. I want full hands on this. Please, I schlepped here, answer these questions. Ready? Yes. Question number one. How many people in this room remember when it was part of our culture and our society that if you were driving on the highway and you were done with your McDonald's, you remember people throwing out the McDonald's out the window? Raise your hand. Look how many hands are up. How about when you would go to the store, or even better, how about when you went on a plane that the person next to you, or maybe the person in front of you, was smoking a cigarette? Hands. Or when you went to Toys R Us and the kid around you got a little out of hand, that mom smacked them directly in the face. People are like, I still do that. If we saw any one of those three things today, we would call the police. Culture trends. How many people here, don't lie, how many people here said the following thing to themselves? I will never get, or I will never have a Facebook page. Raise your hand. Of those people, how many have one now? Raise your hand. How many people in this room said a decade ago, why in the world would I get a cell phone? I don't want one. Why would I want somebody to get a hold of me anytime they want? How many, thank you for not being lazy. Keep your hands up. No. How many of those people have a cell phone now? So here's what I want to talk to you guys about. Culture shifts. We totally, as a people, disrespect culture shifts. How many people in this room think Twitter is stupid? Raise your hand. Twitter's stupid. It's fine. I have no attachment to Twitter. Raise your hands high. Twitter's stupid. Okay. I have no attachment to Twitter as a platform, but I want to tell you one thing. If you're in business, and you're a business person, for you to say something is stupid and not use it, or not believe in it, that has had 70 million people join it this year and interact, is not smart business. See, what I know is this. Business people constantly make emotional decisions, constantly draw lines in the sand. How many people are joining Facebook a day? A lot is a good answer. Facebook is signing up 1.5 million people a day. Not a month, not a year, 1.5 million people a day. See, word of mouth builds business, right? Anybody who's ever taken a marketing class, I'm sure at some point it gets brought up that word of mouth closes 82% of the time. Marketing, all the stuff we spend money on, newspaper ads, radio, billboards, TV, 12. That $1 trillion industry, 12. Word of mouth, 80, 82, 81. What's happened, my friends, is that the book you're about to read, if you read it, or my spiel, or if you listen to this,